following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, why every man in my thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me, big up the girls inside the party, let's get down to crazy Jimmy, big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your wanna be, Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We have a great show for you guys today. We have the one and only Julian Schlossberg coming back on again. I think this is going to be his third time. He's a great guest. Everybody loves him, and we're going to talk about his book, and I think his book now is coming out in audiobook form too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but before we do all of that, let's say hi to everybody, starting off with my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
How come we're cut off?
What do you mean we're cut off?
Engineer, can you do something about the live Jimmy and Ron thing on top? Because it's cutting off.
Oh, it always does. That's always there.
So it's cutting off our Hollywood
That's okay.
sign. But people may not.
I know, but people need to know what the show is. That's the way it is every week.
But they listen to me. They may not know what the sign is. It looks ridiculous.
That's okay. It's there every week for the whole 10 years we've been on the show.
No, it's not. I've not. No, you're
is.
lying. You're lying. You're like the rest of the country. You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
You caught up with the lies are contagious.
Nope.
All the lying going on in government, back and forth, Republican and Democrat. The lying is not to be believed.
Anyway,
and you're lying
I'm not.
too.
I'm going to show you right now.
Liar.
I can't get
Set
down.
your house on fire. You're a liar.
No, I'm not. Anyway,
I know what I'm talking about. That would annoy the hell out of me every week.
That's been there every single week. It's always there. That's what I always say about I don't want our heads to get cut off. That's just a background, that other thing.
I know that, but it looks like woo-woo daba woo-woo. Like we're speaking, Hamas or something.
No, that's funny though.
What's that?
Anyway, keep talking. I'll find it for you. Say hi.
No, you're not going to find it for me.
I am, honey. I have 250 shows or something with that in it. Every single show that we have has that in it. I just don't know how to get out of my phone thing.
Okay, don't spoil my day. Huh?
Okay, I'm not gonna.
You're ruining my day.
Yes.
My favorite person, one of my favorite people, is coming on the show. I have to talk about his book again.
Okay, look, here's last week's. Oh, it's up higher, though, on the video.
I told you. So now apologize to
sorry.
me. Get on your hands and knees.
No, that's after we download it, though.
Bullshit. Get on your hands and knees, Sam.
He's right, Juan. I don't know. Why is that different? Like here, last week it was higher.
See, I'm right. The guinea is right. The guinea is right.
I'm not sure why that shows that way.
The wasp is not right, but the guinea is right. The guinea Jew is right.
Anyway.
The Jewish guinea is right.
They said our picture's way brighter and clearer than normal, too.
That's because I'm brighter and clearer.
That's right. Oh, let me turn this
And my
off.
dog is on me, knocking my drink over.
What's
this
up?
Is not gonna happen.
Try lifting the camera angle, it says. Okay.
Of course, you stupid fool. There you go. See what I mean, Jimmy Star?
Good job, Juan. Thank you.
What one? I did it.
No, but he's the one who told me how to get rid of it. It wasn't on
I
him,
knew
it was
how to
on
get
us.
rid of it, but I wasn't going to do it because it's not in my job description. I'm only talent. I'm not an engineer.
Okay.
I'm not a cameraman.
There you go. Now you can
That's
see
why,
it all.
because this show's not union. If this show was union, I would have a gripe. I could go to the union and say, listen, I'm abused. Jimmy Star abuses me verbally.
Not really, because it's yours.
What's
It's your
mine?
show.
It's like him. What does that mean?
Well, if it wasn't your show and you were an actor or something in somebody else's show, you could complain. But since this
Why
is
don't
your
you blow
show,
it out your ass, okay? As we say in Brooklyn, blow it out your ass, because I'm not interested in what you have to say. So I'm only interested in Julian, because Julian is such an accomplished man.
Oh, they want us to smile. Smile. Hi, B. Bee's taking pictures. Yay! We are bright today, you guys, and we didn't open. We don't have the window open because I don't want the dogs to bark at whoever's going outside and whoever's outside. So we don't. We have it closed. So I made the light a little bit brighter, but
We are in a temporary discord. My daughter's lease was up, and they had to move. So now they're staying with Jimmy and I in our house. I love my daughters more than anything, and I'm so happy to have them here. But with them, with the joy of them comes something else. My kitchen now, my daughter Leslie rearranged everything. I think they threw some of my pots out because they didn't like my pots, and they used their pots from their house. They rearranged all the food in the cupboards. Now I don't know where anything is. It takes me 20 minutes to run around the kitchen opening all the cupboards to look for the item I need. The study or the studio den that we're in, we have a mattress on the rug because my one daughter is sleeping on the floor because she can't sleep in the guest room with her sister because she snores. I also have dogs here, like hundreds of dogs, it seems.
yeah.
My house is no longer my house. It's all in disarray. But, you know, I love my kids, and it's only temporary until Leslie moves to Long Island and Deirdre moves to Pennsylvania. And then eventually Jimmy and I will be moving to the Hamptons, where we're buying a beautiful place out there. We will be bi-coastal. We will be LA and Long Island,
Yep.
back and forth, working here and resting there. I love New York too much to give it up. At this point in my, it's funny thing, my doctor said to me, isn't it funny, when I went for my physical, I'm fine, by the way. And he said, you know, in the last 10 years of your life is when everything happens. So I'm waiting for my last 10 years of my life to happen. So everything happens.
Maybe nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen.
Years.
How many movies do I have? I have so many movies waiting to do. I can't have anything happen to me. It's just not possible. So right now things are a little difficult here at home, but I don't have to cook. So I'm happy about that. Both my daughters alternate cooking and they set the table. They do all of that stuff. So I thought to Jimmy, you know, domestics are nice. It's nice to have a domestic, a helper.
So let's say hi to the chat room.
Hi to the chat room.
Hi to the chat room. B. Claudia's Germany is in there. Lady Lake is in there. I'm not sure if there's anybody else because people are just coming in
Lady
now.
Lake, you know, wait, hang on. Lady Lake, you must have a lover because you're looking very good lately. You're looking very satisfied and content in all the pictures you put up on Facebook. And that indicates to me you have an Italian lover who's really giving you the you know, hide the sausage well. Anyway, Lady Lake, let's have a little bit of it. Are you? Is there?
No, she's never going to tell you anyway.
We'd like to know. Okay, let's bring on our guest.
No, not yet. Hang on.
Why not?
On.
Did it snow in New York, by the way? It was supposed to, wasn't it?
It's snowing.
It's snowing?
Well, Eileen said it was snowing. So
It's snowing now in New York. How lucky.
So
I miss snow.
we want to thank everybody for tuning in every week. I want to tell everybody because we're doing really good. So we're number 21, actually 19. We're number 19 on TV and Film Podcast for Apple Podcast in the USA. We're number 113 in Great Britain, 137 in South Korea, number 1 in India, number 11 in Colombia, number 244 in the United Arab Emirates, 195 in Indonesia, 124 in Egypt, and 146 in Algeria. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening from all those different places.
Yeah, but how do they understand us? We speak English.
I don't know. Most everybody speaks English anyway.
Oh, so we should speak slower.
Yeah, we're okay.
So, I mean, we're in Algeria. How exciting is that? I was in Algeria.
I've never been in Algeria.
Yes, in 1958, my parents said to me, you quit school and you want to be an actor, and we think you're crazy, and we suspect that you might be a homosexual. So I said, really? Anyway, they put me on a ship and they sent me to Italy. to live with my grandmother for a while because there are no homosexuals in Italy. So my parents thought. Of course, on the ship, I had them all after me. I was 17 years old, gorgeous, and I had every gay person come out of the woodwork, from sailors to captains to everybody on the ship. So I'm discovering now that there's gay people all over the world. Now I get to Italy. I forgot what I'm talking about.
I don't know, but
I forgot it was a good story too. Oh, about Algiers. In those days, we didn't fly in those days because it wasn't done. We went on ocean liners. So I got on the, I think it was the Julius Caesar, an Italian ship, and we sailed and we stopped in Casablanca. And I was so happy. I figured Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Rick's Place, da 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 da. I'm humming it. I'm waiting. I get off the gangplank. I go down and I walk to these narrow little steps. You go all the way up where water was coming down, urine probably. And I go into a little cafe and there's a jukebox. And what's playing on the jukebox? Perry Como, Catch a Falling Star and Put It in Your Pocket. I was so depressed. Here I go 3,000 miles to Africa and I have to hear Perry Como singing Catch a Falling Star. Just goes to show you back in 1958 that the world was starting to get small. That's my story. So if you don't like it, too bad.
all right. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Prime. We want to congratulate Luke Harrison because his song "Make Me Better" just re-entered the Billboard AC charts at number 26. So congratulations to him. And I think we're going to play the song real quick, and then when we come back, we'll be on with Julian Schlossberg. So go ahead, Juan, let's play Luke Harrison, Make Me Better, help give him some exposure since he's a great guy and he was a great guest. Lots of people loved him. Enjoy it, you guys, and then we'll be back with Julian Schlossberg in about 3 minutes. You mentioned his name. All right, everybody, that was Luke Harrison. So real quick, so we have a little gingerbread house. It's a little gingerbread house. And Astro was just in it, sitting in there listening to Luke Harrison. But look how cute that is. So he was just in it. And then he heard us talking about him. So then he had to come out and see what's going on. But
Because he heard me say Astro. When I use his name, he has to be on my lap. And he has to say hello to everybody, Astro.
So this is Astro.
Say
everybody.
hello.
Say
Hello,
hi.
everybody. This is Astro. My honey bunch.
All right, now we're going to bring on our
Yes,
guest of
yes,
the day. So let's bring him in, Juan.
Okay, I love you. Stop it now. I'm busy.
Hello, guys. Hello.
Hey, Julian. How are you?
I'm okay, but my God, #1 in India. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. We're doing really good. So I never pushed any of the Apple charts before until I found out that I could get paid if people listen on those platforms. So now we've been pushing it a lot.
Nice to get paid.
Yeah, and so I mean it's not a lot of money yet, but it will be. But we're doing really good. And
Listen, like what's his name said, the famous architect. He said, if you do not get paid, you're a slave. Right?
There you go. Yep.
Oh, Rock. What was his name? From Fountainhead. Rock.
Yes.
The
Gary
famous-
Cooper.
Gary Cooper, actually.
I love Gary Cooper.
Listen, you.
Hold on, wait. I got to do an intro.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, author, motion picture, television, and Broadway producer who has worked as a producer, director, distributor, exhibitor, radio host, and record executive, Julian Schlossberg. Hello and welcome back. Yay!
You know, the great thing about you guys is you're so shy and quiet that
Hey, listen, I'm from Brooklyn.
I know, and I'm from the Bronx, and that's why we care for each other.
That's right. And Brooklyn people are very boisterous, but we're honest, true, and real. We don't go for bullshit. So
No.
we are all right. Don't you believe that?
I totally believe that.
Julian, out here, I don't know what happens to people. They could be a saint getting off a cross. They come here to become bullshit artists, liars, and frauds. I don't know what happens in California, but people in California, or not in all California, but in our circle, no, not our circle, in some of the people
in our neighborhood,
and some, I mean, really horrible people.
Yes,
Really
and those
not-
and those are the better ones.
Yeah.
They say New York is a tough, nasty, rude bullshit. You go to New York, we help everybody. I know New Yorkers are wonderful people. Out here, they're very selfish, self-contained, narcissistic, and I don't know what else.
Well, I'll
So that's
tell you,
what I
it's
do.
the only city in the world, guys, that if you mention Milton, they say Burl.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to say? That's what I would have said, but what are they supposed to
No,
say?
I would have said Burl too. I
Well,
know
John Milton was the poet laureate of England and a pretty big poet, but I'm afraid that was way over their heads. Way
And actually
over.
on mine too.
Milton Berle, his TV show came out of New York, and he would eat with, let me get the names right, the girl with the refrigerator. Faye Emerson.
Betty Furness or Faye Emerson.
I knew Faye Emerson. We all hung out in a restaurant on 3rd Avenue on the corner, and it was called, you know it. Everybody.
Sign of the Dove?
No. This was a little joint. It was on 3rd and maybe 53rd Street or 50, right near Sutton Place. It was on the corner. It was there forever, for 100 years. And John owned it. And if you were on Broadway, he gave you a bottle of wine for free.
Oh, yeah. No,
I can't. But anyway, they all hung out there. And Milton Berle used to go there to eat. So he was not a very nice person, by the way.
Well, yeah, he was very in charge. But we have to say on the positive side, at 8:00 on Tuesday night, restaurants closed. Hotels didn't even take bookings because Milton Berle had taken over television. He was Mr. Television, but he was supposed to be a pretty difficult guy. I met him once, and
he wasn't very nice.
No, yeah, he made a comeback on ABC when I was there, and he got canceled. And it was during the Vietnam War. And he said Berle, knew how to cancel. He knew how to stop the Vietnam War. He said, put it on ABC and it'll be canceled in 13 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, he said a lot of things.
So you guys
go to California where all the fruits and nuts are. He was the one that did that, fruits and nuts. Also, rumor was it that he was a very closeted gay guy. And I think this pissed him off to no end because he resented that a lot. Because when I met him, someone said, he's interested in you. I said, what are you talking about? He's interested in me. I was 18, 18 looking 15. Anyway, he didn't pay me any mind whatsoever. But somebody said he's interested in you. And then so stupid and young, I didn't get it. Later on in years, I understood it. I don't think that he was gay. He didn't. I don't know. You don't know.
He really wasn't, as far as I know. But what was rumored was that he was the most endowed man in show business.
Well, he and Danny Kaye.
And believe it or not, Forrest Tucker.
Forrest Tucker beat them all out.
I don't know
Frank
who that
Sinatra.
is.
The one if you see his wang in Mame. If you see the movie Mame, when he's walking towards you in the riding outfit, it looks like he's got a cucumber banging around in there. It's stupid. I don't know how they, when I was doing the Jane Russell interview, as I sat there, my jeans were sliding up, and obviously some of my manliness was showing. And they came over to me and they said, Ron, stand up and pull your pants down because you're showing. And I thought, wow, why didn't they do that with Forrest Tucker and a few other people?
Yes. Well, by the way, Algeria, when 17 years old, my God, I'd like to know what was going on in Algeria then.
Who was that?
You talked about going to Algeria when you were 17.
Yeah. Well, our ship stopped there. So
that wasn't the final destination?
No, he was on his way to Italy.
I was only there for 8 hours. I was going to Italy to be tortured by my Victorian grandmother. and my Jewish aunt Ferminia, another nut.
Oh God!
So my aunt Ferminia was a famous opera singer.
So hang on one second.
She sang with Mario Delmonico.
So just say hi to the chat room real quick, and then say hi to B and Cindy, because B's a big fan, and Cindy is just the coolest chick ever. So say hi to B and Cindy. They're in the chat room. People start coming in now.
Hi, B and Cindy.
Bees
I'm
and
like am I supposed to say it, Jimmy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. B and Cindy.
Yeah.
Hello.
And Julian, I don't want you ever to think that we ignored you. We never got to New York.
Oh yeah, we haven't
No.
gotten it yet. We're working.
I
on it.
heard. I heard about Hamptons, and I'm thrilled. Are you coming? I hope in the spring or summer, not now.
No, we're not coming now.
Well, we're buying out in East Hampton for sure.
Uh-huh.
We found a place, gorgeous, 55 and over, terrific indoor and outdoor pool because I need that, and I'm excited about it. And I'll have all my New York friends. And,
we're fixing our house up now to get rid of it.
Do you know a woman by the name of Ursula Kalish?
I do not. No.
She's an art gal, one of New York's top art connoisseurs, and she's a very dear friend of mine. And she lives in the Hamptons in
Sag Harbor.
Scott.
We love Sag Harbor.
Oh, I love the whole Hamptons. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In the summer, it's just, and everybody's so cool that's out there. It's like having California. No, it's like having the smartest people from California in New York.
Yes. No, I spent 35 years in West Hampton. It was a wonderful time. I loved it very much. I really did. But now I'm in the country. By the way, there's no snow in New York. I don't know who gave you the wrong information. It's a sunny, beautiful day.
Oh, no, that was yesterday. She told me it was snowing yesterday.
Oh.
Well, yesterday it did snow.
Okay, so yesterday. Yeah. I didn't ask her about it today.
I miss the snow. I used to love when I lived in New York City, Manhattan, I lived on the 9th floor on 73rd Street and 3rd. During the regular weather, there was an iron thing they put down on the road. Every time a car went over it, you're bada boom, bada boom. And and our bedroom window was right on 3rd Avenue. Well, a blizzard came and Manhattan was quiet. You didn't hear a thing. The cars that went over that metal, it made no noise. And I was going to open windows and listen. I said, oh my God, listen to the silence of New York. It's beautiful. Then a friggin' fire engine came by.
Wait, what does that mean you live in farmland? Where do you live?
Well, I live an hour outside of New York. And it's what Ron said actually happened to me. I had lived in Central Park West for many years, and I moved to the country. And the very first morning I woke up, I felt I was in a casket. I thought I couldn't possibly be alive because there was no fire engines, no buses, no trains. I said, oh, my God. And then I woke up and said, oh, right, of course. I'm now hearing birds. That's it. It was great.
Yeah, well, I used to drive to Long Island when I lived in Manhattan, and I missed it so because Long Island in the summer is so beautiful.
Oh, it is. And as is upstate in the fall, with the leaves are changing. It's quite beautiful. It's great to have the change of seasons. A friend of mine's wife from New York, they lived in L.A., and if she said, if that goddamn sun comes out one more day, I'm moving back.
A friend of mine, she moved back, a very famous friend. She moved back to New York, and I said to her, "What? Don't you miss California at all?" She said, "I miss the sunshine and the strawberries. The rest you can shove up your ass."
Well, speaking of fruit, that reminds me of Fred Allen, who said, "LA is a great place to live if you're an orange."
Yes,
that's right. No, it really, listen, California is beautiful. It really is a beautiful state if you drive up and down it. It's lovely. You can't beat the mile run to San Francisco. It's just the people that have ruined it. They've trashed it. They've broken it, and they've abused it. And people do that all over. Nature gives us beauty, and we destroy it.
It's true. It's not indigenous to California. I'm
afraid.
No,
also. Hey, you and I are the same age. We remember New York when it was the ultimate magnificent. I mean, God, I never went into Manhattan in jeans. Are you crazy? I wore a jacket and slacks. Never.
Oh, sure.
Ever. Well, no, not even. I never wore shorts.
And you couldn't go to a Broadway show dressed anything but. I mean, Now they're going in Bermudas and T-shirts and
they wear T-shirts saying "fuck you" on.
We went to a red carpet recently here, and people are wearing shorts and like sneakers, and you just can't even like believe like that.
I mean, I remember as I grew up, and you know this also. I started to go to very expensive restaurants because we all went through that period where we were going to be bon vivant, very, very chic. And we dolled up. And if you had a date, a girl, she wore a stole if she had one. And I mean, we were gorgeous people. The room was stunning. The whole world was a beautiful place.
It was a different world. I write about it in my book, though. I write about that whole period, Ron and Jimmy.
I'm holding,
wait, not yet.
No, I'm holding open something that I want to get to.
But not yet.
That I was interested in. We all find an interest in a book. We're not interested in all of it. We're interested in what appeals to us or what relates to us. And so much of your book.
Okay, but not yet. Not yet.
Shut up.
No.
What are you, my director?
Yes,
my
I'm
producer?
directing. Put it down because I've got other ways to introduce it. Nobody even knows what his book is yet because if they didn't tune in last time, they might not know. So we have to go over that before you start talking about chapters in the book.
You need a lot of training.
No, I don't.
You need to go to school. Acting.
So you guys. So Julian, this is his third time on. He has a fabulous book. It's called "Try Not to Hold It Against Me: A Producer's Life." The foreword was written by Academy Award winner Elaine May, who we're going to talk about in a little bit because of something that Julian's got going on with her. And the book is out in physical format.
Audio.
It's
an audio book.
Yes, but now it's coming out in audio. So when is it coming out in an audio book?
Actually, it's out right now. Today is the day. It kind of worked out beautifully for the three of us, at least for me, that the book is out today. And it's on Amazon and wherever books are sold.
All those places, you guys.
Yeah,
And
but go ahead. I'm sorry, Jim.
You narrate it? Who narrates it?
I do. I read it.
Perfect.
I do it. Yeah, it's I was on the air on WMCA in New York, Ron, for 7 years. And then I was on WOR for 2. So I had a little bit of training to be able to read it. I have a clip. Did you guys get it at all? I sent a little clip of only about 40 seconds of the book. Did you get it at all?
I have a video, but I don't think that that's what it is. It's more of a book promo, I think. I'm not sure if it's for the audio book. Then I have the picture, the picture of you and Elaine May, the before and after picture that we'll talk about when we go by that. We'll show that to everybody. But
I think what you think is the promo, I think is a 30 or 40 second. Well, I'll read it. Can I read it just quickly? Because I think
you can read it. We'll play the video also, and then we'll find out if I'm right or I'm wrong.
You're probably wrong all day.
Seems like a lyric to me, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I've got to be me. All right.
B. Claudia just bought the audio book.
Okay.
I think it's very cool when people read their own books.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think I would want to read. I like the book. The audio book is good, but that would be distracting. When I read his book, I stopped and thought and listened to my own voice. An audio book keeps going, so I would suggest you get both.
There you go.
Have the book and the audio. This way, if you're in the car, you can continue your book. But there's nothing more wonderful than reading a book. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. What I was shocked at, because I know so little of today's world, I'm kind of like a relic from another age. But what I was shocked at to find out was that the book, that people buy the book and buy the audio in order to do what you just said, Ron. They like to read it while it's being read to them. Well, God bless. I wanted to.
If I'm cooking, it's something, you don't want to be in the kitchen alone. So you're in the kitchen with me on an audio. But if I'm in bed, you can't be in bed with me because then you'd be gay. So I read a book.
Well, that makes sense. But I heard that your daughters are cooking these days.
Yes, they are.
Very good dinner last night.
Excellent.
All right. So I had made a movie I co-produced and co-directed called No Nukes. It was a concert movie with Bruce Springsteen and Jackson Brown and Bonnie Raitt and Crosby, Stills and Nash, a lot of people, Doobie Brothers. And I had just I wrote about it in the book, and I talked about it on the audio. And now this is after No Nukes. I wanted to produce a film based on a novel by Dashiell Hammett called Red Harvest. The Hammett estate was controlled by Lillian Hellman. I had never met her, but since we had mutual friends, they arranged for me to visit her in a hotel suite in Los Angeles. I arrived on time. I was shown by a lovely female assistant, and she took me around, and the assistant said she was so excited to meet me as she was a big fan of No Nukes. She was in the middle of describing one of the highlights of the film when we heard a voice screaming from another room, "He's here to see me!" I was quickly ushered in to see Miss Lillian Hellman. We talked for a long while. Sadly, the property I wanted was already under contract, but I enjoyed her company. She smoked continuously, coughed a great deal, and was quite funny. This was my only encounter with Lillian Hellman, but it wasn't the end of her impact on me. 3 years later, she died, and then, strange as it may seem, she came into my life almost on a full-time basis, as you will hear. So that's my little story of Lillian.
You did it well.
Well,
Now,
thank
Lillian
you.
Hellman, for those of you out there who have no idea who she is because you're stupid, she was one of the greatest playwrights ever. And many of her Betty Davis loved her scripts and wanted to be in every one of them, and did. The famous one that Betty did was
The Little Foxes.
Little Foxes,
yeah.
which is a brilliant piece of work that Tallulah Bankhead did originally on Broadway, and then Betty fought with Tallulah and won because Betty was a tough bitch, and she got to make the film. I would suggest you watch this film. It's an incredibly great movie. She is probably one of the most evilest women ever written, I think, right? When she played.
Oh, I think so. Right at the end, but we don't want to give that away.
I want to give away her wickedness. But,
Yeah.
but Lillian Hellman also traveled through Nazi Germany. That's an incredible part of her life also that I suggest you watch another film with Jane Fonda.
Called Julia.
Julia. Jane played Lillian Hellman. And you see what she went through Nazi Germany with those son of a bitches. Anyway,
I actually looked
you're
up.
so far, I hope you don't think I'm full of shit or a bullshit artist or a phony or I kiss up to you, because I don't. I just think that you lived a life that I should have lived.
Well,
Because meeting Lillian Hellman to me would have been absolutely a fantasy come true.
Yeah, what happened, Ron? First of all, it's not over for you. You don't know. You could come east, and who knows what could happen. So don't.
When I read your book, I lived vicariously through you, because so much similarity. Our fathers are the same. I mean, I just read the book. I said, shit, was this guy copying my life? I mean, couldn't he write about his own life? I mean, even my mother, the description of your mother was a beautiful woman. My mother was a beautiful woman. My mother had the same personality your mother had. I'm telling you, Julian, the similarity is not to be believed.
I actually looked up Lillian Hellman after I was going through your website today before you came on to look up to see who she was, because I figured we would talk about her, and I had no idea who she is.
They don't write like that anymore. They just don't know how, or they don't have the common sense. I don't know what it is, but we had so many great writers in the 1940s and 50s, not only Lillian Hellman. I mean, look at them. I can't even name them.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know. We talked about earlier Dashiell Hammett, but you have, as you said, you have so many. You have Clifford Odets writing, and you have Eugene O'Neill and Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee's my favorite. I got to tell you.
Well,
when I saw Streetcar Named Josiah, I thought to myself, there will never be another play better than this one. I mean,
think
it was detail perfect.
I think you're going to be interested in this, Ron, and Jimmy, I think you will too. When Kazan directed Streetcar Named Desire, the original director on Broadway, and for the only other time he made the movie. After that, Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, Sweet Bird of Youth, all that he did on Broadway, he refused to do the movie, Death of a Salesman. He would not do it. They all wanted him, but he said, I did it once. I can't go through it again as a movie. But on Streetcar, he did something I've never heard before. Because it was a pretty interior piece, as you guys know, it was inside a home, pretty much. He built the exact set next to each other, two. So as you know, Ron, you know the waiting time is killer as an actor, right? I mean, it kills you.
Yes,
he said, we're going to rehearse in this, and then they're going to set up in there. Right. So that the rehearsal took place in set 1, set 2, they're setting all the lights. So as soon as they were done, they came in and shot. Brilliant. Really brilliant. Of course,
great way to do it.
also, when a play like that has so much energy needed, Marlon Brando in the movie had to muster up a lot of stuff over and over. And Stella, all that. It's exhausting. Nobody knows what an actor goes through until you are an actor. You're standing there for hours. You're waiting. Then the waiting is over. Then they don't like it. Then the light bulb blew. Then somebody tripped over a wire and disconnected. Now you're not filming. It's always a cousin Mariah somewhere. There's always a mess.
And that doesn't count the rejection. The rejection. And one of the reasons that I adore actors is the fact that they can try to blame the agent, but the agent's not there when they go for the job. And the rejection is so painful after a while that only the strongest people can handle it, you know?
I don't mind rejection if it's warranted. If they're going to tell me, listen, Ron, you're too old. We need somebody younger. I understand that kind of rejection. But if somebody said, like I just did a movie and there was some trouble on the set, not me, but there was trouble. And to be evil, they said, you have to come in and do a voiceover because one of your lines sounds like you don't know how to act. Oh. And I took that with great offense, but I understood why, because the star of the movie and I had a falling out. We were best friends, but she's known to fight with everybody. So it wasn't me that was at fault, because I'm not at fault on the set. I'm very good on the set. That to me hurt me because she was a dear friend, and that kind of ganging up I didn't care for. So that was very hurtful to me. But I listened to it over and over again, and I had people listen to it, and they said, that's exactly how a doctor talks. Yeah. You talk like a doctor. And that was my line. My line was, and I put my thumbs up, I went, it's good. There's nothing there, and you're not pregnant. I mean, how could you go wrong with one line like that? But they did it to be mean. And that kind of dirty pool I don't like. Dirty theater, we call it. There's a lot of dirty theater. Betty Davis spoke always about dirty theater.
Yeah, I did a wonderful interview with Betty Davis. Talk about being excited to meet someone. She came into the show. She was a little woman. She was very small in stature.
I knew her.
And I didn't. I only met her that one time, but we had such a great time together. And you know, it's so funny how life kind of goes in these cycles. I ended up buying a Betty Davis movie that I owned, called Another Man's Poison. Yep. What had happened was she had gotten in this huge fight with Jack Warner, refused to do the pictures, and went to England and shot this movie with her then going to be husband, Gary Merrill. And Another Man's Poison. So the producer was Douglas Fairbanks Jr. It was just wild, the whole thing. But I owned the movie for 20 some odd years and I love the fact that I met her and that I had her film.
She did not like that movie. I had a lot of good, you know me, I have balls. I say things to people when I meet them for the first time that people don't say when you know them 30 years. And I became her best friend instantaneously. I treated her like she was my mother. And I said to her, Betty, I called her, not even Miss Davis. I wouldn't pull that shit. I said, Betty, what is your favorite film out of all your films? She said, well, it's written that I like, I forgot, Mr. Skeffington or one of them. She said, but it was Now Voyager. She said, I really enjoyed Now Voyager, and so did my fans. The audience liked it. And then she went off to say the movies that she hated. And she just went on and on and on. And I said, my God, you almost named all your movies. She said, I felt I never really had what I wanted, she said.
How about little foxes? I bet she liked.
She liked Little Foxes. She liked Mr. Skeffington. She liked Now Voyager. She hated Beyond the Forest. When I brought that one up, she said, oh, please. She said, just like that. Please.
How about Jezebel?
She liked Jezebel.
Yeah.
But she felt that Jezebel was her second award for not getting Gone with the Wind.
Yes, but I bet she loved All About Eve. About Eve.
She loved All About Eve.
Yeah, as we all did.
Betty turned Gone with the Wind down. When they offered it to her, she said, oh, that must be some pip. And she turned it down and regretted it. Betty was very, very tricky. You had to walk sure-footedly with her. Because if you said one thing that she didn't like, she'd turn on you quickly. So you had to be very careful. She came into our showroom, and I sold her a toilet seat that was foam. Did I tell you the story already?
You can tell it to me again, because you're a hell of a storyteller.
We had a showroom. As an actor, we don't eat, so we had to have a business. So we opened up a showroom on Robertson Boulevard, very chic, called Designs by Wall Illusion, and we sold wallpaper. And we had a beautiful vinyl wallpaper that was all jungle flowers and pink and orange, and she loved color. And Betty came in upon my asking her to, and she said, I need a wallpaper for my bathroom. And she chose this very beautiful wallpaper. I said, Betty, with it, you can get a toilet seat that's foam rubber with the vinyl over it, matching the wallpaper. And she said, may I see it? I said, no, I don't have that one, but I have a sample of a toilet seat. I gave it to her, and she squeezed it, and she said, oh, now I'll be very comfortable when I read some scripts. So I said, oh, it's a laugh. And of course, I had to add to it. I said, oh, sure. Because some of those scripts can make you jump. And she said, it's a laugh. She was, Betty Davis was very, very, I don't know what she was. She was never my friend. Yet I went to parties at her house because of Lee Winkler, who we talked about, my buddy Lee. Lee owned 2 apartments in her building where she lived in Hollywood. So I got to go to parties at her house. One party I won't forget was out on the terrace, big, beautiful terrace she had. And she was drinking scotch and smoking at the same time. And she drank scotch and then smoke came out. And I thought to myself, how the hell do you do that? How do you swallow with smoke in your lungs? Yeah. So I had to say it naturally. I said, Betty, how do you do that? She said, what? I said, how do you smoke and drink scotch at the same time? She said, practice. Practice. She always had those one-liners. Her apartment number was 4F. So I thought to myself, how funny is that? Betty's, because she used the word fuck a lot. And I said to her, I said, how funny is that your apartment is 4F? Yes, she says 4 fucks.
Okay, so Julian has a cool thing coming up, you guys. So everybody knows Academy Award winner Elaine May did the foreword for his book, and she doesn't really do interviews, but she did an interview with him that's going to air on TCM on January 26th.
That should be interesting. I want to hear about her and her daughter's relationship.
No, they're doing fine. In fact, they live together.
Because when I spoke with her, Ginny Berlin, I brought her mother up. What a mistake that was.
Well, that just could have been the day, but they're very close. I mean, they've done movies.
I was with Renee and Joe, and we went to Dom DeLuise's Money Raiser for a play he was promoting. We were all seated at the same table. And of course, I was a big fan of Jenny Berlin's. I love her work.
Yes, she's terrific.
she's an underrated actress. She's a
She's
fabulous actress.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay, so hold on. Let's go back. Let him tell the story. Tell us a little bit about it, and then we're going to show a picture of you interviewing him, and it's on Turner
Well-
Classic Movies. Just the two of you talking.
Yeah, what it is it's an evening of Elaine May's films. It starts out at 8 p.m. with Nichols and May, a film I produced about the career of Mike and Elaine. And then we go to her first movie that she wrote. Listen to this, Ron. Wrote, directed, and starred in her first movie. We know that's not an easy thing on the first movie, called
Well,
A New Leaf. A New Leaf with Walter Matthau. And then we go to Mikey and Nicky, a very tough gangster movie, not a comedy, even though she's associated with that. And then finally, Ishtar, which, by the way, the New Yorker recently wrote a maligned masterpiece. Quentin Tarantino calls it a great movie. Scorsese says one of his favorite movies. But, you know, it happens sometimes that your film is ahead of its time. And I hope people will see that with Ishtar. Elaine does not do interviews, so I groveled and nagged for years to get her to sit down and talk. And what we do is we talk about each film beforehand, then they show the film, and then we talk afterwards. So it's kind of a nice way to spend the evening, or DVR it if you want. It's.
I'll certainly watch it.
We'll definitely be watching it. Go ahead.
my
Hey, Juan,
favorite-
throw the picture up. The
Wait,
one that
hang
says
on.
before after.
My favorite Elaine May performance is
There we go. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
interview.
You can see Jimmy and Ron. I'm leaning in there, almost begging. And then we had so much fun, so they took that picture too.
I love
There
it.
the movie I'm talking
Thanks,
about.
Juan.
Now, Julian, you know what I'm talking about. She's in the water. And
That's
Mathau-
New Leaf. That's A New Leaf.
Wait, and Matthau is saying, "Stay. Can I come out now? Can I come out now? Cold in here. Can I come out now?" I was hysterical laughing when she did that with that nasal twang shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm freezing. Can I come out now? That was classic work.
Well,
Because nobody would write that repetitive stuff and think it would work. She did.
Yes.
She wrote repetitive stuff, and it was wonderful. I love her. I would love to meet her when I come to New York. If we could do lunch, all of us, I'd be thrilled.
It will be done. It will be done.
I have been a fan of hers and her husband's and her daughters. I will never forget her daughter when she did that. What's the name? Is alive and living here? What was that one?
You mean A Heartbreak Kid?
No. Sheila somebody is in New York and living.
Oh, Sheila Levine is alive and dead and living in New York.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So they're a very talented family. And
Well,
you're
it is.
gifted.
You know, in A New Leaf, guys, because Ron mentioned Renee Taylor. Renee is kind of vamping. She's in a bikini and she's vamping a Walter Matthau, and she goes behind and starts to take the halter off, and he says, "Don't let them out."
Don't let them out. I tell you, what went on years ago, I just wish that people, you know what, when we speak about Make America What It Was, people have an idea that is wrong. My idea of Make America What It Was is let comedians be funny.
You can't anymore.
No.
Can't anymore.
I live in the world of theater and movies. I don't live in the world that anybody, like you, we don't live in the world of other people. We really don't. We live in our own little world. Like right now, I'm so happy. I could do this all day long with you. This to me is I'm not working now. This is pleasure because you and I are such and such thinking. I don't have that anymore. I go to cocktail parties with very, very important people. And I say to them, Elaine May, and they
don't know who anybody is.
And you don't know who Elaine May is? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. I think my mother mentioned her once or something.
Yeah, that's right. No, the fact of the matter is that's why you're coming east. That's one of the reasons you're coming east.
I'm coming
Yes.
home because theater is where I was on the boards for years. For years, I was not an actor in movies. I did television, but basically, I was a stand-up comic.
Oh,
We won't go into it right now because you won't believe it. So I won't even go into it.
So I have questions. So first of all, I want to just mention the book again. Throw it up there, you guys, so everybody knows what we're talking about. We're talking
And
about
I want to
Julian's
bring
book.
it to what I want to talk about.
In a minute. Try Not to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life by Julian Schlossberg, forward by Elaine May. So I have a question because I was going through a bunch of different stuff and materials that you sent. And I want to know, because it said, I have two different questions. One of them said, you were a producer's representative for Elia Kazan, Dustin Hoffman, John Cassavetes, George C. Scott, Elaine May, and Robert Duvall. I don't know what that is.
oh, well, that's yeah.
What actually is that?
All of those people owned their own movies. Not all of their own movies, but all of them. Kazan had a deal with Warner Brothers that 10 years after his films came out, a 3-film deal, they would revert to him. He would own it. Face in the Crowd, Baby Doll, and America, America. And he gave them to me, and I ended up distributing them all over the world for 40 years with no contract, just his firm handshake. So just to give you an example, George C. Scott made a movie with his wife, Trish Vanderveer, called The Savage Is Loose. And they gave me that film. And Bobby Duvall did a film called We're Not the Jet Set, and he gave me that film. So I would represent these folks on 3 films, 5 films, depending. It was a wonderful time in my life because I was meeting people I respected, I enjoyed working with, and who actually I could help, because a lot of these films were wounded. They were not easily successful commercially, but I would find a way to do it, or try to find a way to do it. So yes, it was a terrific time, and I enjoyed it. My company was called Castle Hill, and
You, Castle Hill?
yeah, that was me, and
I know Castle Hill.
And that's what Schlossberg means in German. Schloss is a castle, and Berg is actually generally a mountain. But I had just left Paramount, and I felt they have a mountain. I'll take a hill. Maybe I can build it from there. I ended up having probably the largest independent film library in the United States.
Wow.
I had over 500 movies that I represented, including John Ford's Stagecoach, Hitchcock's Foreign Correspondent, Lubitsch's To Be or Not to Be, wonderful movies that I was so proud of. And John Cassavetes, 5 of his movies that he owned, Faces, Shadows, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Opening Night. It was Woman Under the Influence, which I think for me was his best film, with Jenna Rollins and Peter Falk. And Jenna was nominated for the Academy Award. So it was a good time, Jimmy. And I liked representing these people a lot.
Let's talk about Jenna.
Wait. So
Jenna was a very tough actress. Jenna was strong. Jenna played women that were women that knew what they wanted. She was a brilliant actress and beautiful, with the most gorgeous hair. Her hair was absolutely stunning.
So wait, I want to go back.
Wait, hang on. Jenna lived down the road from us.
Oh,
Did you know
still
that?
does?
No,
I didn't know that. No.
She passed away in Palm Springs.
Yes.
So Jenna lived 2 developments down from us.
Oh.
So wait, I want to go back. So Castle Hill was a distributor, basically.
Yes. Well,
so
a producer. I produced films under Castle Hill's label too. Yes.
Okay, so you did both. You did both under Castle Hill. So what do you think? I want to learn something. Relax. Distributor. As a distributor, what did you think about this distribution now? Do you know a lot about distribution now compared to?
Well, I know enough to know that I'm glad I'm not doing it. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, streaming is one thing, but I mean, I'm very fortunate and very happy to be a member of the Motion Picture Academy for almost 25 years. But the problem is that I don't know these people who are making movies. I used to know, Ron, I bet you were the same. We used to know everyone who was making a movie. I don't know 3/4 of these people at all. I never heard of them.
Jimmy tells me, oh, next week is a good show. So-and-so is on. I said, who's that? He said, what do you mean, who's that? He's the number one guy. No, everybody wants him. He gets 40 million a movie or whatever bullshit he gives me. I said, you got to be kidding. I never saw him, did I? He said, yes, you did. You saw him 2 nights ago in the movie. I said, I did. I don't know who they are. Now, when they come on, I have to make believe I know who they are. I can't, right? So I hate doing that because I don't like lying and I don't like bullshitting. I would like to say to them, I wish I knew who you were, but I don't. But I don't know who they are. They're all kids. They're all 28 years old. I'm 83.
I don't bring on anybody young. Everybody that comes on is like 40 and up.
Well, to me, they're like infants. They're children.
Well, you know, because you guys inspired me, I decided to go back and do my own podcast, and I'm going to do it. And I looked at, and I'm already. You guys are coming on because I'm going to interview you. You're going to have the tables will turn. I'm going to find out the whole story.
Well, let me get to this because I'm dying to get to this ever since
we'll come back to that.
I read your book. All right. This is important to me, Julian. The golden age of comedy is headlined. And I'll just give you the first 2 sentences, which made me nuts. I had to read this immediately. Both radio and early television continue to have an influence on me. All right. I was there, Julian. That's what interested me. I got turned on by it. I became hypnotized or something. I love the whole article. And there's a wonderful picture here of your mom and your father. Your father looked like Kirk Douglas, you know.
Actually, I don't know. In the picture, perhaps, Ron, but in person, he looked very much like Leslie Howard in person. Yeah.
Leslie Howard?
He had blonde hair. My father had blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was really a knockout and a wonderful human being.
It's beautiful, very beautiful parents. Now, tell me all about this. I want you to discuss this with me. So now, we know radio, Long Ranger, we mentioned in the book, we know radio. TV comes along and it rolls. You put tinfoil on the rabbit ears. And you're looking at a 5-inch round tube and you think, oh my God, this is paradise.
Yes.
I thought that television opened up the world.
It did.
And I wanted to be a part of it. How about you?
Same thing. Exactly. In fact, I as you know, you couldn't be a couch potato then, Jimmy. You couldn't. There was no remote. If you wanted to change the channel, you got off your ass and walked over to the set. You didn't like the brightness, you worked the brightness. There was no pushing of buttons. When I go and talk to people, Ron, on campus, they say to me, there was no remote. How did you watch television?
What? I used to pick up the rabbit ears with the tin foil on it and walk around the room.
Yeah, you kept turning it.
Because of the damn reception. Then we put an antenna on the roof. Wow, we were living. Then we got
how big was the first TV?
Our television was
8 inches, and then maybe 12 inches. Honestly, 14. They were small. We had a Dumont. Remember Dumont?
That's what we had. We had a Dumont also.
Look at this. Maybe we were brothers. This is possible.
You know what? I swear to you, if I ever wrote my life story, with the exception of Jane Russell being a great part of my life, you and I have. Did you ever meet Jane?
I met her. I did a film with her, Hollywood Uncensored. She was wonderful to work with. Very religious at that time. Religious at that time.
We never discussed. That was the first thing that we. I only wish one day I could write a book about what I really know, but I can't because I just can't do it.
Here's my suggestion.
Let's put it this way. If I was not a homosexual and I had not been a drag queen on stage for so many years, Jane and I would have been more than friends.
Yes. Well, my suggestion is that you should write, not a book, write an article about Jane. Start that way. Start with just one story. And I think, and I'll be happy to read it and talk to you about it. But I think that's the way to do it, Ron. That's how I did it. I just wrote a story, and that was it.
Right now on Facebook, all week, every day, I've been putting up a picture of Jane and I. And a very private pictures. These are not public pictures. These are my private pictures as a memorial to Jane. Because I promised Jane, and she used to laugh when I said this. I said, Jane, there's a 26-year difference between us. You'd never know it. When we went out, people thought Ron Russell, Jane Russell, I was her husband. They never
Yes.
questioned it for 1 minute that there was an age difference. That's how young she looked. And I used to say to her, Jane, if you should go before me, I promise you, I will keep your name alive as long as I'm alive.
Oh,
And
that's
I do
wonderful.
Periodical. I loved her with my heart and soul.
Well, why aren't we friends on Facebook?
Because you're
'Cause I-
Jewish.
Well, yeah, but wait a second. You're half Jewish. You're half Jewish.
Let's go there, because what's going on in Israel is the most disgraceful thing that the American
Yeah.
people could ever witness. Because
He'll friend you on Facebook.
and the anti-Semitism that we have in this country.
I never realized how bad it was.
And
'cause
I say to you,
everybody
I
know
say
is
to the
Jewish.
people out there, we have 5 million people that watch this show. He's a Jew. I'm a half a Jew. Do you hate us? Do we have horns? Are we bad people? Are we not nice? So stop this
Terrible.
anti-Semitic shit. Because if things continue, it's going to turn around and it's going to be black, Chinese, Italian,
They're going
French.
to go after everybody.
It's going to be everybody. So stop it. Stop prejudice. Stop anti-Semitism. I did it.
You did it. And to quote the Supremes, stop in the name of love.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So tell us about. So what is your podcast going to be called?
Well, it's Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, and it reminded me, Jim, and you and Ron were talking about age. I've got the most wonderful people, but they're not kids. Listen to, I've taped them yet. I'm kind of keeping a few. Oh, look at that dolly dog. What a dolly. Anyhow, yeah. F. Murray Abraham,
Love him.
Richie Benjamin, Marlo Thomas, Twiggy, Carol Kane, and the youngest of them all, Elizabeth Berkley. So those are the first 6, 7 people I'll be
How was
doing
Elizabeth
shows with.
Berkley?
You got
She's-
these-
I love Elizabeth Berkley.
She's a wonderful gal. I did a play with her on Broadway with great cast. It was called Sly Fox. It was Larry Gelbart wrote it, Arthur Penn directed it, and it was Richard Dreyfuss, Eric Stoltz, Bob Dishy, Elizabeth Berkley. It was a terrific. We had a wonderful time. Renee Aubergenois was a wonderful. Oh, and Professor Irwin Corey was in it. You remember him, Ron?
Yes,
I
I
don't know who
do.
that is.
He wouldn't. He wasn't born yet. Yes, I do. No, Jimmy was born 1962.
4.
I was 24 years old when Jimmy was born. Imagine. I could have walked by his carriage and said, "Oh, what an ugly baby."
Well, I'm sure Jimmy would prefer that you didn't do that. I would think.
I was adorable, baby.
He was. He was a typical guy. Blonde, blue-eyed.
Yes, I was actually.
A real chick.
I love F. Murray Abraham. I think he's such a phenomenal actor, and I don't know like the older movies like you guys, because before I met Ron, I had never watched a single old movie at all. Now I've seen everything on Turner Classic Movies, but his modern day movies, he has one. Now I forgot the name of it, but it's got Sean Connery in it, where he's a professor at a high school, and this
Finding Forrester.
one of the greatest
Finding
movies.
Forrester.
It is such a great movie. I watch it all the time.
Yes.
I've seen it like 50 times because I like sports.
It is a wonderful movie, and he just got nominated for the Golden Globe for the new show called White Lotus that
Yes.
was on HBO.
We love the new season.
Wonderful man. What Herb Gardner, who wrote 1,000 Clowns, knew of Murray and worked with him. Murray has this extraordinarily beautiful voice, as you both know.
No,
And
I didn't know.
that Murray's voice is so Amadeus.
Who?
Amadeus. F. Murray Abraham.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Not Herb Gardner, F. Murray. And he said to me one day, "What would Murray have done if he wasn't an actor? What would he say? The tuna fish is in aisle 3."
But you know what you and I share in common? When
A lot.
When we watch old movies, we know half of the people that are in them.
It's
And
true.
Jimmy's fascinated by that. I'm a YouTube freak. because I go to YouTube because of all the old movies. And there it is, Barbara Stanwyck, Joan Crawford, Betty Davis. I'm not bullshitting you either. I'm not lying and making it up. And I have little stories about everybody because
that's why I'm urging you to write your book. And don't say you can't. You can. I'm sure you can.
But I always listen. My book, if I just explained half of it to you, you'd say nobody's going to buy it. They're going to think you made it all up.
It doesn't matter what they think, and they will buy it if you're talking about Betty Davis and Jane Russell.
It sounds so fake. How could you possibly know or have met? You see, that's what I do, the 3 divisions. Know somebody, meet somebody, and in a room with somebody. I never say Betty Davis was my friend. She was not my friend. She was someone I knew. Jane Russell was my friend. Tab Hunter was my friend. So you see, there's the difference. And most people
but why can't you write about that? It does. I look at all the people that I mention in my book.
Born in Brooklyn to a communist family, was raped at 4 years old.
If I was a publisher, I'm ready to buy the book now.
No, wait a minute. Move to Astoria where your father spoke about communism and the neighborhood turned on you and nobody allowed you to play their children to play with you. So you grew up with friendless, trying to find friends. Now you discover you're gay, you find gay bars, you find gay men, you go out. Now you decide that that's not the life for you. You got to satisfy your guinea father. So you marry, you have 2 children, you live a life of a lie for 16 years. Now you dump that marriage, you go back to being a drag queen on stage who's a comic for another 45 years. You do television, you do bullshit. You move to California and back and forth 100 times. I mean, and you knew this one, you knew that one. It's just so ridiculously, it just sounds, I don't even believe it was my life.
I will say it for the 3rd time. You've got a book in you. You should start with 1 chapter and just write about Jane because she was your friend, a major movie star of the time, and just see how that works out. Don't say that no one will believe it. Who cares if they believe it? Get it out. Listen, wait, Ron. You have 2 daughters. They're going to have perhaps children or have already. Let them know who their father, grandfather was. I really want you to do it. I'm not coming back until you write a chapter.
He needs to do it.
You know what? In person, listen, you won't show my picture. Pull it up on the phone. I want him to see what I look like.
He's seen it.
I look just like Jane Russell in drag, okay, with the tricks of makeup. You won't believe it. I even had big tits like her. I worked all the New York clubs. I was not a Greenwich Village drag queen. I was uptown drag queen. I worked in the Townhouse. I worked in Florida. I worked up and down all straight clubs.
You want me to show that one?
Oh, yeah. Show that one and then show the other one.
I don't know if he'll be able to see
That's
it. That's
me as Jane Russell.
Looks like Jane Russell.
Hang on. Yeah. This is how you can see
And I sang in my own voice and I was a comic.
And there's his boobs. Oh, wait. Let's see.
Oh, my God. That's wild. Well, okay. What about the powder box?
And that's actually him with Jane.
Oh, yeah.
Like normal.
How about the powder box review? What was that all about? Do you remember that?
That was before my time. It was a jewel box review and the powder puff review. That was in Greenwich Village down on 3rd. That was way before me. That was the day of the really great performers that I impersonated. It was a quirk. Friends of mine were going to a drag ball in Brooklyn at the Cotillion Terrace, run by Daisy G, who was a very famous drag queen at the time, who looked like Gloria Swanson, and he portrayed Gloria Swanson. So a bunch of us said, let's go and drag. It would be a riot. We'd have a lot of fun. So we all got dressed in drag, and we took my father's car, and we drove to Brooklyn from Queens to the Cotillion Terrace. We walk into the Cotillion Terrace, and suddenly a bunch of people grab me by the arm and they make me stand up on a chair. And I thought, what the hell is this? And they're taking pictures of me. They said, oh my God, Jane Russell. And I said, Jane Russell? So there we are. That's me. So I was dubbed Jane, and all my friends were teasing me about it. They said, Jane, come over here, Jane. Anyway, my best friend, Tommy, who loved Marilyn Monroe, he used to impersonate Marilyn Monroe, Miss Tommy Lee. So he said to me, why don't we get an act together, Jane and Marilyn? We could do Little Rock and do the whole. So we did that for a while. Then he came from a very big mafia background, and he was and from Brooklyn, and he was afraid that his family would find out, so he cut drag out completely. I went on my own, and I worked the 82 Club. I worked all the clubs, because I was a good drag. I didn't lip sync. I sang in my own voice, and I did jokes that today wouldn't work. Like, I admit my breasts have sagged. This morning I was shaving my ankle and I cut my nipple. Those were the jokes that we did that were risque. And the audience would be shocked. They go, "Oh, he said nipple." Today you couldn't get anywhere on that shit.
No, you sure couldn't.
So why am I getting an interview? This is your
I don't know. I want to go back.
I want to go back to you. Screw me. Anyway.
I want to go back. First of all, wasn't the name of your podcast wasn't that the name of the show you used to have a long time ago?
Yes, yeah, it was. It was Movie Talk was the name, and I was on from 8 to midnight. So it was quite interesting to do 4 hours in prime time. And it's so funny. I'm doing 2 podcasts. The one Movie Talk will start the beginning of February, but the one I'm doing now is called Tales from Hollywoodland, with 2 other producers that you guys may know. One guy's named Stephen J. Rubin. The other one is Arthur Friedman. Arthur Friedman did the Bobby Darin movie, with Kevin Spacey. And anyhow, we're doing that, and it's interesting to me because we're starting to build an audience. But on MCA, I was spoiled. I had 60,000 listeners just in New York in the 70s. So right now we're trying to push 3,000 after 4 months, but it takes a while, I guess, right?
And one thing that's wrong. Hang on, one thing that's wrong with you in general, because even you coming on this show, all kinds of people who help promote the show were asking me, like, what's your social media? And you have an Instagram, but you don't post on it. Like, you need to do a little bit of that, and if you do a little bit of that, your audience will grow drastically.
Okay, I'll thank you for the tip. I'm on Facebook, but I have a problem with Facebook because, unfortunately, a lot of people want to befriend me, but I just don't want to say. I only want to do someone I know. So
yeah, I stopped taking people on also if I don't know them, because I got hacked twice and I had to start a new account.
I have 5,000 people, so I'm going to have to knock somebody off to put you on, Julian.
Well, I'm worth it. I'm worth it, Ron.
Oh, are you serious? Anyway, I do it simply to promote our show. Now, you want to have 10 million viewers in one show? I'll tell you how.
Yes.
Call Barbara.
I couldn't do it.
Well, you couldn't. I'll do it for you. Call Barbara Streisand and say, listen, I need you to come on my show. I want to interview you. I bet you Babs would do it.
Well, I haven't spoken to her. I knew her very well at one time, not now. But
friends. What are friends for if you can't call on them in need?
It's true. Well, right now,
Barbara comes off like she's the best friend to everybody.
I found out that her book on audio is 48 hours and 15 minutes is the length of her book on audio. I looked at my book.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And
a long time.
You know who did her book? My good friend, Barbara Rosenblatt. Cantor Rosenblatt's niece.
Huh.
That's
if you don't write your book, it's a shanda. A shanda for the people in Astoria and in Brooklyn.
Yeah, a shanda in Yiddish means a sin.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to interpret. But yeah, Barbara Rosenblatt with one T. And she was in Secret Garden. She played the Madoff.
So
if you saw Secret Garden, you saw Barbara Rosenblatt performing.
Yeah.
She's the voiceover queen. She is the #1 voiceover person of every book. She's very famous, and she did Babs.
She's also an actress. She was in the first couple seasons of Orange is the New Black as one of the main characters when that show came out.
Oh, well, it sounds like she's a good friend of both of yours.
Very
Not
good.
I've never met her.
He never met her.
I've
That's
never
it.
met her.
When I get to
Oh.
New York, he'll meet her. But
Oh.
she's in, Barbara Rosenblatt came to California and said to me, "Why?" That's all she said to me. Why? Well,
So we want to go back one more time, and just guys, I want to keep telling people the name of the book. You guys is Try Not to Hold It Against Me: A Producer's Life, forward by Academy Award winner Elaine May. It's on audiobooks platform and physical. You can get it on every download platform that's possible to get it, and Amazon, Audible, all those different places. And what about, do you sell it off your website also, or no?
I don't know what to do. I am such a pathetic person when it comes to the tech world. I absolutely have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But I can send email, and I found out how to text lately, but I really would be left back.
he texts for me. I want to say something about this book. People out there that manage, control, and run a nursing home, if you don't have this book in your library, in your nursing home, you're out of your mind, because there are so many 80-year-olds in nursing homes that are from this book. And when they read this book, they're going to know that they were there, because that's how this man writes. He writes like you're there with him. It's a wonderful book. And you know I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass, and I don't push anything I don't believe in. A lot of books I like, some I don't. I don't talk about the ones I don't like, but you know, I won't hurt anybody's book, but I sure the hell will say, you're going to make a movie out of this thing or what?
You know, I had a call recently, but it's so funny. What we all know the business, all of us, so we know that these calls can mean nothing. It reminds me of a man who came to see me, and he said, "I have half the money for this movie." And I said, "Oh, that's good." I said, "Let me have the name of the bank and the banker so I can confirm that." Oh, well, I'll get back to you on that. I said, "Okay." I said, "And let me ask you another question. Who do you have a star?" He said, "Yeah, I do. A George C. Scott." I said, "Oh, that's great, because I know George." "Well, don't call him. Don't call him."
That, as we all know, is a bullshit artist.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
That's a fake.
I mean,
Have you ever?
Now, wait a minute. I would compare your book to those wonderful movies that we're using for my movie as reference. Those movies, Uptown, all the Jewish people in the movies that we love.
Yeah, no, well, I forgot. I don't know the names
You
of
know
those.
them. Neil Simon's work and all those other people. What is it? My mind just went to dead.
give
all the
me
movies,
a
like
hint.
Bronx Tale.
Neil Simon movies. I don't know if it's Neil
No,
Simon.
not Neil Simon. No,
You mean Brighton Beach Memoir and Broadway Bound?
and
Yeah.
Bronx Tale. Your movie would be in that category, because, and I love them. And those movies, by the way, are slow. They're sleepers, but they made money.
Yeah, some of them did. Some of them,
Especially
that's right.
Brighton Beach. Brighton Beach made a lot of money compared to
Yeah.
what it cost to make. It wasn't expensive because they shot it in Florida.
Yeah.
No,
You're talking about Boynton Beach.
Boynton Beach Memoirs.
No, Boynton Beach Club. You're
Boynton
talking
Beach Club.
That's Joan Micklin Silver. Yeah.
Right.
And
So
Renee and Joe were in that, I
about. I
think.
know they run over the dude.
Renee is a riot.
She
Renee,
is.
I think she stole the movie, because when I only watch it to see her carrying on. She is fabulous. I only wish that she could be in my movie, but everybody's thinking she's too old.
I can tell you one thing. I just did a year with Renee all over the country, and she was not too old. 8 shows a week, one-person show called My Life on a Diet, which is a great title. And she
I
is,
saw the show.
whoever told you she's too old better investigate, because
Well,
she's not.
They meant visually, because I don't look 83. In fact, I'm shooting soon. I'm playing Kevin Bacon's father in a movie. And they said, "Ron, can you look older?" And I thought, gee, that's the first time I've ever been asked that. But I have to age myself somehow. So we're trying different hair combs, a mustache, whatever, because I don't look old enough to be Kevin Bacon's father. Because
No, you don't look anywhere near 8. You don't look anywhere near 83.
Oh, I know.
And I
that.
don't. Hey, can I tell you guys something? And all the gin mills in all the world, you know what that line from, right?
From Casablanca.
Of course. So listen to this. on January 26th, when TCM will put me on with Elaine May, they didn't know that was my birthday.
No,
So I thought, well, that's a pretty good birthday question. Present.
absolutely.
Not bad.
Well, you don't look bad for an old bag either.
No, I don't. 82? Come on.
You don't really, Julian. You don't look 82.
Well, you don't look 83.
No,
So there.
no. But
Now, Jimmy, what do you think? You don't look 58.
Actually, I'm going to be 60 this year.
You know
But
what?
I don't care. I don't actually care.
Julian, you remember what grandmothers used to look like.
Oh, my God.
My grandmother had a center part with 2 buns in the back. She only wore gray because if you wore color, you were a putana or curva.
Yeah.
Curvas wore color. You only wore gray and beige. And she wore those sensible shoes with their orange cotton stockings.
Yes. Sometimes roll down.
Roll down so you get runs in them.
Yeah. Yeah, but Ron, the funny thing is none of them lived to even close to 80. None of them.
Oh no. My Italian grandmother lived to 92. My other one lived to 86.
Oh, you're in good shape, my man. The good genes. Good
Yeah,
genes.
He has good genes.
Yeah, but my one grandfather died 27 or 28 of a massive heart attack because he saw his niece run over by a trolley car,
Oh my God.
and
That's terrible.
he just died. Yeah.
So wait, I want to go back to something else because you mentioned Gary Cooper. Did you ever do anything with Gary Cooper? I love Gary Cooper.
No, I loved him, but I never met him. I didn't know. I just loved High Noon, one of my favorite movies. High Noon, of course, was a parable about the McCarthy period, but they
Right.
didn't know it at the time.
Well-
Nobody would help him. Nobody would help him.
Right.
He was, but wonderful film. Cooper was terrific, and you mentioned the Fountainhead, and that Patricia Neal. You watch her in HUD, one of the great performances in motion pictures.
Let me tell you my Patricia Neal story. My very good friend Linda Sagan, Carl Sagan's ex-wife, lives in Manhattan. And I go to visit Linda, and she's talking. She said, Patricia Neal lives right down the hall. I said, no way. I want to get her on my Set the Record Straight show, my TV show. So I'm going to go down. She said, you can't do that. I said, why not? She said, you can't go bang on her door. I said, why not? She's going to appreciate the fact that I want her on my show. But, nobody knows her anymore. She's nobody. She's gone with the wind. So I go down and I bang on the door. She opens the door. She says, yes, with that video. And I said, hi, I'm Ron Russell, and I'm visiting Linda Sagan, right, your neighbor down the hall. And I have a television show, Set the Record Straight. And if there's anything that's ever been said about you in your life that's been a lie or misused, this would be your chance to correct it. She said, oh, how interesting that is. She said, that's a very good concept. Blah, 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 blah. Now, listen, this is the truth. The door is opening bigger. I could see on a coffee table or a small table a picture, Gary Cooper.
Yeah.
And I'm staring and I'm looking over her shoulder. And now she spots that I'm doing that. She said, I see you're looking at the picture. I said, forgive me. I said, but I loved him. She said, I did too.
Yeah, that was the big love of her life.
Listen to what she said to me. I said to her something to that effect. I said, well, that was some love affair. She said, was? It was continuing. She never stopped loving Gary Cooper.
Yeah.
She died, and then said she would think about it. She said, it sounds good. Can I let you know? I said, Patricia, absolutely. And then I forgot who it was, said to me, you just lost Patricia Neal. I said, what do you mean? They said, she just passed away. I said, no. I wanted her interview. I wanted to ask her about Coop.
Yeah.
He didn't want, he couldn't divorce his wife for religious reasons.
A lot of people, same with Spencer Tracy and a lot of other people, or at least they use that as an excuse. I have to tell you one quick story of like yours. I heard Ethel Merman was in town, and she was at the Algonquin Hotel. So I pick up the phone and I call, and they put me right through, and she goes, hello. I said, hello, Miss Merman. What do you want? I said, my name is Julian Schlossberg. I do a 4-hour radio show in New York. We want to dedicate the entire 4 hours to your career, to theater, to film, to television. What do you pay? I said, well, it's radio. I said, we don't pay. She said, goodbye. Click.
She came not far from where I was raised in Astoria.
And her name was Zimmerman. She dropped the Zim.
She came all the way up from past Steinway Street, where the bus turns when you come out of Manhattan on 59th Street. She lived in that row apartment house. And so did Judy Holliday. She came from Astoria. And so did another one. Quite a few. Oh, Chris Walken, I know, from the subway. I used to ride the BMC at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, coming back from New York. Yeah. And he'd be on it. And he was doing King and I at the time, playing one of the kids.
Huh. Astoria they built the wonderful film studios there. And they had them years ago, and then they kind of refurbished them. But Burns and Allen did their first shows there. Marx Brothers, a lot of them shot in the old Astoria studios. Quite a history. I
worry about that. My grandfather was a theatrical shoemaker on 40th Street in New York. And my mother was always in the theater with the theater people. So my mother was an actress. So my grandmother took her to the Astoria studio to be in a movie. They paid, I think, $5 to the kids. They were all kids. And it was, I forgot the name of it, The Storm or something. And years and years and years later, my mother grabs me. She said, come on, we go to the Astoria studio. And she's counting bricks. And then she stands on the brick and she said, Rudolph Valentino stood here. I said, what are you, nuts? She said, yeah, there's a picture of his car and he's got 1 foot on the running board and 1 foot here. Valentino stood here. She said, he did Monsieur Beaucaire in this theater. I said, Ma, come on, you got to be kidding me. She said, Ronnie, this is where when I was a kid, I was in a movie that started my career off. The Astoria Studios up on 38th Street, I think.
Yeah, I think. Tell me, what was your mother's? Was it Russell? Did she go into the Russell or not?
No, Russell I took from Jen. My mother was Jenny Gabriel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was hoping, because there's a Gail Russell. You remember Gail Russell? She committed
suicide.
Yeah, that's right. But I thought, wouldn't that be interesting if that was your mom?
No, my grandfather found out, and he went crazy because he was an old-fashioned Italian. And he said to my grandmother, you want your daughter to be a whore? They're all whores, They all make their hair red and smoke.
Yeah.
My mother repeated. So my mother, when she grew up, she used to do theater. And then my father came on the scene, and he said, no, the men are looking at you. I don't like this. You can't do it. So my mother didn't do it. And all her life, she was an actress, though. She was very theatrical,
very theatrical. Yes. I wanted to tell you guys, you might know this. The great writer George S. Kaufman, who wrote The Man Who Came to Dinner and a million other plays.
Wonderful writer.
Great writer. Was also a critic at one time. And they were opening a famous play called I Am a Camera. And George S. Kaufman wrote the shortest review in the history of critique. He said about I Am a Camera, no Leica.
I like a camera, no Leica. That's true. That's good. But, back in the 20s and 30s, most of the women that were in show business were whores. They slept with everybody. They were lesbians. And it was I know notorious Hollywood. I study it. And I know Spencer Tracy was gay. Katharine Hepburn was gay. It was a lavender relationship. We know that. Robert Taylor, Barbara Stanwyck was a lavender relationship. They did that. The studio had said, you better get married because people are getting on to you. You're too old, single. Cary Grant and Randolph Scott. Of course they were together. Mr. Blackwell had a 3-way with them, and Richard told me that. So I know it for a fact. I got it from the horse's mouth. Mr. Blackwell? Did you ever meet Richard?
Oh, I know, but I know Earl Blackwell is very famous, of course.
No, that's different. Is that the same Blackwell? He said Earl Blackwell.
No, Richard Blackwell.
He was the 10 best dressed list and all the celebrities.
Or 10 worst dressed list.
And he used to dress
I
like Heifer.
absolutely have the wrong first name, but I remember Blackwell growing up, of course.
Well,
I got to know Oleg Cassini. He was a very interesting character. He of course had married Gene Tierney, and
right.
also had a love affair with Grace Kelly, which his father, Grace Kelly's father, broke up. Didn't want.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
We know our stuff.
Do you have like a favorite movie? Do you have like a favorite like go-to movie? Like if you're in a certain mood and you're like, oh, I have to go watch this movie again, like an old movie.
There's the one movie that I do love because I think it's as close to a perfect movie that I've ever seen is Casablanca. I just think it's a great movie, and
We all feel that way.
yeah, and it's so interesting too because they were writing it at night. The Epstein brothers and these Howard Koch. They were writing at night, trying to get the scenes right. They did not have a real script, but it turned out to be, just to me, as close a perfect movie as I've ever seen. I don't like naming one movie or something because there's so many terrific films. We mentioned George C. Scott. He refused to take an Oscar. He said, I don't want to be competitive with my other fellow actors. I don't believe in that. And I believe that there have been great movies made every decade, but Casablanca, to me, I guess, Jimmy, to answer the question, would be the one. I love Gone with the Wind. I think it's a sensational movie. There's a terrific book that you both would like called The Making of Gone with the Wind called GWTW, The Making of Gone with the Wind, by a man named Gavin Lambert, and he tells you about everything that went on, how Vivian Leigh got eventually hired, about Betty Davis, as Ron said, where she was one of the many people tested. Terrific thing. So I think Casablanca and Gone with the Wind. The sad thing is,
what about the Maltese Falcon? Like, because
I never cared for that.
Because I always read, like I read a lot online because I do a lot of research, and they always say they consider that's like the best movie ever made.
I thought the directing was terrible.
Wait, I didn't ask you. I don't care what you think. I want to know what he thinks.
Well, I have no idea what the movie is, so please say it again.
The Maltese Falcon.
Oh, that's an interesting movie because that's John Huston's first movie as a director. They didn't, and you know who turned it down? George Raft. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it, and it really made Bogart's career in many ways. I like the movie, but I love Sidney Greenstreet. I just love him.
He was a good.
That's the heavy guy with the white hair.
That's the man. He's both in the Maltese Falcon and in Casablanca. Casablanca.
Now, the reason why Casablanca, they say, is such a hit still, because all the ingredients in that movie exist today. It's a timeless piece. We have, unfortunately, anti-Semitism again, which is in that movie because it was about the Nazis. A love affair that couldn't be, a woman that was married cheating. So if you really analyze the movie, the writer gave everybody something of it to call their own.
It's true, and there were three writers.
And I loved it because I thought Ingrid Bergman was breathtaking.
Yes,
and those close-ups of her, just a stunning lady. Now I'm going to open up the door for us. Those women in Hollywood then were women that we were proud of, women that we adored, women that we revered. Today, they look like hookers and sluts. Julianne Moore sitting on a toilet bowl, taking a dump, wiping herself and looking at the toilet paper was the greatest offense that my eyes have ever seen in a film. And I saw that in a film. I still haven't gotten over it. What the hell prompted her to do that? She's an established star. She didn't have to lower herself to that level. Is that entertainment today, folks? I don't think so.
Not to me, anyhow. Remember that fellow named John Springer, the wonderful publicist years ago? He had Betty Davis, he had Olivia de Havilland, he had all these people. He wrote a book called They Had Faces Then.
Yes.
And that's exactly the case. Whether it was Joan or Betty or Olivia, these people were gorgeous. They had gowns on. And sure, I guess we're sounding like every older people, but that was a time that is not coming back. And that was the time that we were lucky enough to grow up in. And I'll never forget it. And I'm glad we were all lucky enough to grow at that time up.
Because we were raised.
I didn't grow up in that time,
No,
so
we were raised.
I didn't have it.
In that area, we were raised with manners. We were raised with modesty, good taste. We were raised with all the values that have gone today.
I miss though, because I see all that. Like I would like to seek more classic and elegance and classiness, but unfortunately
Julian,
we don't have it.
Julian, if you go on YouTube and pull up Ron Russell's interview with Jane Russell, you're going to hear Jane tell me that we dressed, she said, to the best that we could. We had different hairdos. We never wore jeans that are all ripped like they do today. Jane really explained it well, coming from one of the most glamorous women in the world. Everybody wanted to be Jane Russell. Everybody wanted to be Lauren Bacall. All women imitated these people. Today, who have they got? Look what's on the screen. Tits are hanging out, asses are hanging out. I mean, what does that got to do with the story? We get the message. They're in bed together. What are we, stupid? We need graphics.
It's just not our world. That's the truth of it. But
Julian, had it improved, I would have been happy. Had it been a better world, I would have said wonderful. But it has not become a better world. It's become trash. The garbage has taken over. All the trash of the earth now is what is in. Fashion is trash. Ripped jeans and stupid shit.
And that's why I'm so happy to have Turner Classic Movies, that we have that. And I'm glad that you guys watch it a lot because they show the best movies without commercials. My God, it's such a pleasure to watch the movies and to hear from Ben Mankiewicz and these other people about the movie we've seen. I
Did you
think
watch
it's
Noir Alley at all? I love the guy who hosts Noir Alley. He's cool.
Eddie Muller. Eddie Muller.
I like him a lot.
I want to meet Eddie Muller.
Me too. I think he's a San Francisco guy. I think he is. I'm going to try to get him on my show, and if I do, I'll see if I can get him on your show.
The fella that, did you know him? I met him on 57th Street where he lived. It was a January with a windstorm off that Hudson that your dick fell off. It was so cold. It was freezing. No, it was freezing. And I tapped him on the shoulder. He was going into his building because he must have lived there. What's his name? Who did Turner Classic? Quick.
I know who you mean. Bob Osborne.
Robert Osborne.
Bob Osborne. And you want to just say one thing. On 57th Street, Bob Osborne lived in a building called the Osborne. So help me God.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's true. And he was going in that building, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and he got startled. And I said, please, don't be startled. I said, but I just love what you do with wonderful movies that would have been forgotten. And he said, oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. And I told him who I was and what I did. And he said, oh, that's great. And I talked for a while. And then he said, thank you so much for stopping me. He said, that was really nice. And he went in the building. He was a very, very handsome man.
Very, very handsome. And
very handsome.
And he was a very good friend of mine. He was a regular on my radio show. At that time, he was writing for the Hollywood Reporter. But it's so interesting. You dead on, Ron. 57th Street, that's where the Osborne was. And literally across the street was where I broadcast for 7 years on WMCA.
Barbara Walters in that building.
Oh, Jeffrey Lyons did. Lynn Redgrave did. A lot of folks lived. Gig Young sadly killed himself in that building as well.
Right. Did you know that there was a time when they wouldn't rent to actors?
Oh, of course.
Not the Dakota, but the El Dorado on the west side.
Why wouldn't they rent to actors?
Because they were actors. It was a prejudice.
They actually sometimes would say signs like "No actors or dogs allowed."
Cher wanted to get in the El Dorado. finally she got in, but she had a lot of trouble getting into El Dorado.
Yeah, and that's 90th and Central Park West. So
That's right.
yeah, and
course,
in the San Remo they turned down Madonna and Sean Penn. Turned them down.
well, the reasoning is they would bring so many people, the tourists, the track. It would upset the other tenants because the building would then become people out. Look, the Dakota, when Lennon was there, they were all outside waiting to see Lennon.
Yeah, and Lauren Bacall was there, and Rex Reed was there, and oh my God, Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein's there.
My friend.
Who's your friend?
My mind just went, oh my God.
Lauren Bacall, he said.
I knew her.
Rex Reed?
No,
Rex Reed?
Oh my God. The Australian who died of AIDS.
I
went to his
he's taught Peter
Allen.
Peter Allen.
I went to Peter's birthday party.
He lived on 77th Street. Yeah, that's right off Central Park West. He had a beautiful penthouse apartment, which I was at.
I was at the Dakota in an apartment.
Well, maybe that was after he became famous.
Because I remember Lauren Bacall's place. You walked in and there was 3,000 queens on each side, and Lauren in the middle. And they said that the queens were holding Lauren up because she was so drunk. But I'll quickly tell you my Lauren Bacall story.
You only got like 5 minutes, so
the whole 2 hours is gone.
Yeah,
I got to be with you more. we have to move in together.
Wait a second. We have to do a show together. I want you guys. I can't wait to interview you both. I'm telling you, we're doing it.
I cannot believe 2 hours have gone.
It's not 2 hours. It's an hour and a half.
Julian, I swear to you, if you were gay, I'd leave Jimmy for you. I would leave Jimmy.
I'm happily married, but there could be another lifetime. Who knows?
You guys, the name of the book is Try Not to Hold It
enjoying
Against Me, A Producer's Life. Came out today in audiobook format. You can get it with Julian actually reading it to you, which is a super terrific thing. You can go to his website, julianschlossbergproducer.com. We still have 5 minutes. I just want to keep getting that in.
I'll do my Lauren Bacall story because it's really quick. My ex-boyfriend, his brother, said to Lauren Bacall, I will do a benefit, $1,000 a plate for your favorite cause, charity. So my ex said to me, do you want to be there? I said, what, are you out of your mind? Of course. I'd love to meet Lauren Bacall and see if I can get an interview out of her. So we go to this restaurant in New York, which I don't remember, but anyway. There must have been maybe 21 or 15, 20, 30 people, all gay guys, and they all paid $1,000 a plate to be there. Now I got there and I looked around. There was nowhere for me to sit. So I felt very unwanted, very left out. And I decided to go to the head hunch. I went up to Lauren Bacall. I said, Lauren, would you believe I was invited and I don't have a chair? She said, you're kidding. She said, sit on my lap. So I proceeded to sit on her one leg. And she thought I was crazy. She meant it as a joke. And I sat on her lap. So I said, now I can die happy because I sat on Lauren Bacall's lap. She started laughing. She gave me a push. She was so nice. A lady. Old lady. Hollywood. Old Hollywood.
It's true. She was a tough cookie, though. And she was doing a play with Harry Guardino called Applause on Broadway.
Right.
And Harry got ill, and the understudy went on. And on the way down, Lauren Bacall was coming down the stairs at the end of the show, and the understudy was coming up the stairs. And Lauren Bacall said to him, nice try. And he said, you too.
Hey, I want to do another quick brag for Julian, you guys, too. Not only is he a phenomenal guest author and he's got great experiences, but you guys, he's got 6 Tony Awards, 2 Obie Awards, 7 Drama Desk Awards, 5 Outer Critics Awards, and 1 Emmy nomination. So he's big shit, you guys.
I don't get excited over nobodies. Meanwhile,
wait, what were you going to say? He said put something. What were you going to say?
No, all I wanted to say was that I always enjoy talking to the two of you. I have to tell you, it's such a pleasure because I'm afraid the business is filled with a lot of what Ron clearly called a lot of crap. And the one thing about this show, you tell it as it is, whether you want to hear it or not, you're going to tell it as it is. And that is in itself a unique show.
Yes.
Jimmy warns our guests. He didn't warn you, but he warns our
Because
guests.
he's been on it before.
He tells our guests, Ron likes it that you're in Brooklyn, in the kitchen, having coffee and Entenmann's crumb cake. And that's
like
how
your friends of ours.
That's how this show is a Yenta show. It's a talk show. It's not an interview show. I don't want any of our guests to feel interviewed. You have to see what we get after the people get off the show. They text us, email us. What a ball. I loved it. I'll come back again. It's a warm show. All right. Yeah. Now, I wanted to say something, and I'm so old, I forgot.
You have 1 minute. So, you guys, the name of the book is You Have to Hold It Against Me, A Producer's Life.
When you go to YouTube, Julianne, watch my interview with Tippi Hedren.
I will, but I want to watch the one with Jane Russell because I never met Tippi, but I did spend some time with Jane. So I'd like to see that first. Then I'll go to Tippi.
Tippi's a good interview because talk about Alfred Hitchcock. But
do they talk about the lions in her house?
Are you kidding? I was there.
with the lions and Noah Black, whatever.
Patrick was a lot. I met Patrick. She wanted me to stay over because she said her daughter was coming up with her grandchild. Yeah. She said, Ron, stay for dinner. Because I went up to Shambhala. And I couldn't because I came up with the film crew in the truck. And the kids wanted to go home. So I lost out on dinner with Tippi at Shambhala.
And Melanie.
Melanie, yes.
With Tippi, I mean, what happened?
The dog. The dog's like walking around. He got rid of her. That's okay because we're out of time anyway. So everybody, please check out Julian. Get the book. Read the book. It's fascinating. Congratulations on the new podcast. Send me a message when you put it out and when you do your social media because I have 1.5 million followers. I'll help share it. And,
okay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure. And I really will come back to you soon to come on my show because I want to get you guys in the interview seat. But as Ron said, all I want to do is conversation, not interviews.
All good. Julian, thank you so much.
And as soon as we get into New York, you're on our list of visitors.
We're going to definitely get together.
Yes.
Well, you know how hard it is because everybody wants.
We gotta go.
They all want to see you. You only have 7 days.
Julian, thank you so much. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, my good friends. My life
can turn out to be so wrong. Yeah, we in the mix. It's another episode. Here we go. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Interviewing the hottest, newest, and truest of today's celebrities. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified weekly. Jimmy Star, he's the king of cool. Ron Russell, he's a gorgeous dude. Chat room is live and you would be a fool not to vibe with us at the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. So come watch it live on W4CY Radio. Miss some past episodes? Download on iTunes. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. It's the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell.